Tim Aschoff is with me, the Executive Vice President, Chief Operating Officer, and the COO and General Counsel for Creek Carrier and Schaefer Trucking. And he's brought two great guests here, and one that I've met before. Donna Lucian is here with Women in Trucking, and also Rex Gobb with Hunt Patriot Fleet. And guys, it's great to see you. Man,
Pleasure.
Back at it again, right? Didn't we just leave here last August? It seems like yesterday.
It's amazing. Time flies, and here we are.
Yeah, you know, my hair's getting thinner, a little bit more rounder, and calendar's going quicker, but oh well.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
That's
It's great to see you guys. I appreciate it. Tim, you've been busy. Wow. I mean, a lot of stuff going on in the trucking industry. Got to get your thoughts on some of the headlines that have been happening. I know you follow the news very closely because of all of its direct connection into trucking. Congress coming back. Those rascals are going to be at it again in a couple of weeks debating the highway bill. What's going on with that? Why can't we get Congress to at least agree on something with funding this thing? And this obviously does have an impact on trucking, right?
It obviously does, and it is very frustrating. You know, we, along with all the others in the industry, of course, are trying to follow us very closely and really trying to encourage, you know, our representatives to, you know, do the right thing. Let's get a longer-term funding plan done. It is vital to the country. I mean, it was recognized all the way back, you know, after World War II in the 50s how important an interstate system was.
Yeah,
and it seems like, you know, if they could figure it out 60, 70 years ago, why can't we figure it out today? And, you know, the challenge has become is there seems to be so many factions anymore. And in these bills, we get so many things thrown in from, you know, different safety measures, which are all good, and these are all good things, but we then lose focus, I think, sometimes. And, you know, it'd be really nice if the Congress could focus on that long-term funding piece of this, get that accomplished, and if we need to work on some of the other issues, let's work on those separately, but have a long-term plan for the infrastructure itself.
And, you know, Senator Deb Fischer from your state has been very, very active in helping promote the needs of the trucking industry. I'm sure you've met with her, you know, in person or by phone. You know, she's a tremendous champion, isn't she?
She has been a great champion, and we're lucky to have her. You know, she came from our state legislature where she was heavily involved in roads and transportation, and so has taken that experience on with her to Washington. And, you know, hopefully in our discussions with her, and we do have many discussions with her, you know, we do try to convey that message. You know, we need a long-term solution that's workable. We know funding's always a challenge. Where's it going to come from? But we know that we have to pay our part as long as we get a return. You know, a lot of people talk about the, you know, the highway trust fund and the fuel tax that goes into that. And, you know, our philosophy as a company's been is, you know, we're fine with paying that fuel tax as long as it's going to be put back to roads. And you know, if we need to pay more, if it's going to go to roads, okay, we're fine with that. But again, as I mentioned before, we get all these side issues that come in and either start tugging at that funding or tugging at the main focus of the bill. And so we're just, I guess our message to our constituents is let's get focused. Let's focus in on the key issues and on the funding, on the infrastructure, and get moving forward.
Are you concerned about what I call the toll trolls that are coming out? I mean, because that voice is getting louder and louder. There are more. There's a much more concerted effort on the part of those that are proponents of tolling. That's going to be difficult to counter that, and if that message becomes louder and louder, how difficult would that be for the trucking industry if more tolls are indeed put in place?
You know, I think it would be much more difficult. It's really hard for people to understand exactly the impact of tolling, and there's been a lot of places where it's been done and it has not been successful. And so it becomes, you know, back on the public purse, so to speak, anyway. And so I think as that voice gets louder, we need to make sure as an industry we have a clear voice out there to give the full facts and, you know, a consistent voice. I think sometimes that's one of the challenges with our industries. We do have so many different elements in our industry that having a unified, clear voice isn't always accomplished. And that's one thing, certainly with tolling, I think we all can be unified on and work towards.
You know, and what I think really makes this job a little bit easier, navigating through the complexities of what's going on in trucking, is having great team members. And you brought two great team members to the table right now. I've got Rex Gobb with the Hunt Patriot Fleet and Donna Lucian, Women in Trucking. And Donna, I remember you when I was up in Lincoln. It's good to see you again.
It's nice seeing you.
My goodness. And sir, welcome.
Thank you.
I appreciate you joining me. Donna, a little bit of background about what you do. Tell folks, what do you do out there on the road?
What I do out on the road?
Yep.
Well,
since 2011, I started training for Crete. I train other women
Okay.
to be better, safer drivers out there. Try to give them tips and tricks on things that I've learned over the years that wasn't shared with me, so that it helps them avoid having issues out there. And I try to promote more women out there being able to drive and still look like a lady.
There you go.
And
Outstanding.
be able to do the job safely.
Good folks are coming in, aren't they?
Yes,
I mean,
they are.
folks that really are interested in learning about trucking. Is this a new age, the dawning of a new age for trucking, where maybe many have said, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't look at trucking, but now is it being looked at in a different
Technology
way?
has increased a whole lot, but
Yeah.
I'm finding that with our economy the way it's been in the last few years, a lot more people are coming out here that need to save the farm, so to speak, or their husband and wives, they're empty nesters, and they're getting out here, they're getting to see the countryside, make a good paycheck, make a decent living, be able to, catch up and save the things that they value. Plus, you get to see the countryside while you're at
No,
it.
absolutely. That's a pretty good perk right there. Absolutely. And Rex, a little bit about your background. You're with the Hunt Patriot Fleet.
Yes,
and, did you served in the military?
I served in the Navy for 3.5 years.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And tell us about what you do in the Patriot truck. What is that about?
Just basically haul open bed materials from point A to point B. John Deere, Case, New Holland, Caterpillar,
Okay.
and it's mostly general freight.
General freight. Okay, but I bet you when you pull into some of the truck stops, man, they see the Patriot truck. Folks are like, wow, this is pretty cool.
They are positive. Everything is so positive with these folks. I haven't had any negative responses at all to this truck, and it's just an honor to be able to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
And
What does it mean to you?
It means to me that they respect me enough to let me have this truck, to drive it, and to honor those that have come before and those that are going to go before us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just part of my being.
Part of your DNA.
Yeah, exactly. I don't come from a trucking background really, but when I got out of the military in '72, I just started driving truck up in the mountains of Oregon, hauling logs.
Oh, sure. Okay,
know?
okay.
And
But you love it, though, right?
Oh,
It's part of your fabric.
I know it is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if I'm out of it for too long, I'm getting them itchy feet, man.
Right.
Wanting to get back into
You're
it.
ready to
know?
get onto
I say,
the
I'm
railroad."
going to quit this now. No, I'm not. I'm here for the long haul. These people have one of the best companies I've worked for, and they treat me with respect. They bestowed this honor for me to me, and I'm just going to have to do the best I can to be worthy of the truck that I drive.
And Donna, respect's critical out there for the
It's
industry,
very
right?
critical out
Yeah.
here.
What does it mean to you? The
Well-
company's got your back and they respect what you do. What does that mean to you?
Well, I worked for a company that didn't do any of it at all, and it was the difference between day and night coming to Crete to find people that you could talk to, that if you had an issue, deal with the issue right then and there, and that they recognize the job that you did. And most people don't get that recognition, and a lot of people just want to thank you. You did a good job. I would get messages from them all the time saying, hey, attaboy, you did over 3,000 plus miles for the last 6 months. Go, girl. And that means a lot to you when they recognize and see what you've done.
Yeah. You know what I think is also a lot of fun, too, and I follow you on Facebook. And I know, Tim, you've done ride-alongs, and man, incredible experience. I would love to do that.
It is.
Just from the whole standpoint of, being out there, the boss is there. No pressure.
No, and when I do some ride-alongs, it's often it serves a purpose. I need to go somewhere, and so
Sure.
it's the lucky driver that gets to come through Lincoln, and we see where they're going, and I get on the truck, and so it is. You don't want to have them be uncomfortable. So
Sure.
But I can tell you, all of my experiences have been so positive. I mean, we have so many good quality people that are, kind of quiet heroes out there serving our country by moving that freight every day that you don't see other than, them passing you by or you passing them by on the interstate. And it's been a great experience for me to see, what they deal with. It is a different perspective when you're sitting up in that truck,
Absolutely.
seeing all the vehicles around you. And
Something that you learned on the road that you might not have known when you go out there and you say, man, I didn't realize this. Anything come to mind?
I think what I learned the most is that it's not just sitting back and driving. I think it's a skill. I mean, you and I go on a road trip. We may sit in our,
Sure.
four-wheeler, and we kind of sit back, tune our radio in, and kind of relax a little. They're not relaxed. I mean, they are doing a job, and it is a skill every second, watching what's going on around you, being aware. There's so much that goes on around a truck that you don't realize when you're in a car, because they have cars, going in and out of them. They're preparing for where they're going to be making their stops, the planning, and everything else. It is much more than just, turning the key and going.
Yeah, and Rex, talk about that. I mean, when you're out there on a road, man, you're constantly looking around.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, how important is that? I mean, based on looking at what the four-wheelers are doing.
Well, you're hauling 80,000 pounds, and that could just go over the top of somebody and crush them if you aren't aware of what's going on.
Right.
And you have to watch every side of the truck, even underneath you. Sometimes they don't want you changing lanes a lot for obvious reasons, because there's people in your blind spot. You have to be diligent about who is where. You're always looking, checking your mirrors 24/7, basically. When you sleep, you say, well, who's running into me now? But you have to stay focused on what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't,
it's going to be tragic.
Absolutely.
And Donna, you're training folks out there. Do they get it? Are they looking around? Are they paying attention to what you're telling them? Look all different directions. Constantly stay focused. I'll bet you that's gospel messaging to them.
It is gospel message, because you're multitasking. Lots of times I'll be telling them things, and I'll say, I'm not repeating this because I think you're stupid. I know that this repetition will get you down the road, and you'll say, oh, God, I remember Donna said that. That'll keep me out of this mess. And so you're constantly multitasking every day. I mean, it doesn't, it's not like you don't want to be texting or anything like that, but I'm just saying you're constantly watching your mirrors, checking the traffic, checking the weather. You're doing it unconsciously, to be honest with you, on a lot of it.
Yeah.
And
that's professionalism, isn't it?
It is, but like I said, you need to emphasize, we've got features now, our On Guard, and different things that help us, to aid us in some of those things of somebody coming off on the ramp, or, somebody cutting in on the side of you. You've got different things that can help us now technology-wise that is helping to make our job a little bit easier, but we still have so much we have to do out there.
I got a break here for just a minute. All right, drivers, again, welcome back. It is now 54 minutes after 2:54 East, 1:54 in the Central Time Zone, and just a couple of minutes left here in the program with Tim Aschoff. He is the Executive Vice President, the COO and General Counsel for Crete Carrier and Shaper Trucking. I've got Donna Lucian, Women in Trucking, and Rex Gobb with the Hunt Patriot Fleet. And guys, we were talking about the technology that is on board the truck. I mean, it's just an overriding theme nowadays that companies have got to make that investment. I mean, it's just part of the game. And Tim, the investment in the lane departure warning systems, the automatic braking systems, the on-guard systems out there, it's a great return on the money. Got to put the money in front, obviously, at first, but man, it's paying dividends, right?
You're right. It is a great return on the investment from a money perspective, but even more so, it's a great return on the lessened number of injuries as a result of accidents, whether to our drivers or others in the motoring public. So first, there's that return on investment. I mean, saving lives and avoiding injuries, but then certainly from a monetary aspect, yes, there is that return as well. And these systems have evolved over the years and they're becoming much more accurate, much more helpful. And the key with them, though, as we work with our drivers, is it doesn't replace their skill, the great skill they have to have. It is a tool, but a very helpful tool. And we work with our drivers to help them understand the system, because like any other system you have, you really got to know how to use it, and that's very important to us. But at the end of the day, it's about saving lives and keeping our drivers safe. So we've made that investment. We continue to work with the manufacturers to help those evolve to get even better. Not replace the driver, but assist that driver in even being a better driver than they are today.
And Donna, how's that made you a better driver?
Well, you have instances where you see somebody stopped here, like they're stopped at the stop sign. Somebody then comes darting around them illegally, shoots out in front of you, and it puts me in a better position, because it's going to catch it before I might, because I've already seen him stop, thinking I'm going on, and it will break and and keep it from, me from hitting somebody. But, you're basically paying attention anyway. It's just a little bit better aid and tool to get you ahead of the game, because you have people all the time pulling out off the ramps. They're slowing down. You don't know how slow. The on guard will actually show you how slow they are.
Goodness sakes. I mean,
and how many feet away they are.
And Rex, I imagine, man, when you look at the technology, when you started in trucking, back in '72,
Right.
You look back and you say, man, where's this stuff been, right?
I know. I'm surprised it hasn't been implemented before. There was so much good that comes from it.
Yeah.
The lives and the like you say, the monetary value that people put on things these days, and just to keep us from hitting somebody. That's such a tool, such a great tool. And my wife said when I first came with this company with Hunt, said, "Oh, I like that." She, because it will break for you if there's something you just don't catch.
Yeah.
And
everybody's human.
Sure.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
We have flaws, whereas mostly On Guard doesn't, but it sees everything.
Yeah. And when you look at the drivers, records, I'm sure this is keeping a tally of the records and things like that. I'm sure you're very pleased at the progress that is made, how drivers are adapting to this technology, right?
Absolutely. We started implementing systems like On Guard probably 6 or 7 years ago, and it did take a little bit of adjustment. There's some drivers thinking that it's taking over for me, and I'm not the driver anymore. But they really have adapted to it. They've seen the value of it, as they mentioned, and it's just become a great tool.
All right, guys, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming out and see us, drivers. I'm going to take a momentary break in the action.